politics is downstream from culture, but sometimes culture ends up being downstream from politics. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, women across the country said that they were swearing off casual sex. They would be more careful with the men they were sleeping with. They were going to get on birth control as a rebellion, not really realizing that that is kind of the solution to literally everyone's problems. Less casual sex means fewer babies that you want to abort, happier women, healthier America. And now, with Trump winning the election in America and half of American women believing that they are being stripped of their rights, they have decided to rebel yet again. And at first, this maybe seemed healthy, but then it took a turn for the worse. And we really need to address the 48% of white women who didn't vote for Trump, because I do not think they are okay. Before we dive into this story, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the comment section channel if you've not already, and of course, ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our episodes. So first of all,
before we get into this video, can you make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe so that we can tear into this right-wing view of why women aren't voting for Donald Trump? Oh, wait. I only have one camera. Okay, we need to get into this. So, yesterday we covered a Shoe on Head's video about men and why men aren't voting, or why men are voting more and more right wing. And basically, we are going to be covering the same topic today, except from the perspective of apparently why women aren't voting for men. I don't know. I've been covering a lot of more left-leaning content creators and kind of criticizing them from the left. However, I do think that it is glaringly obvious that there is a giant behemoth of right-wing content creators, and that's what I want to be focusing more on, at least this week, coming out of this election. And so, while we are going to be talking about men today, I think the main purpose of this video is to tackle Brett Cooper's YouTube channel. Just see what she's been saying, tear into her, talk about why she's wrong, and see why her channel is so massively large. Let's get into it.
8% of white women who didn't vote for Trump, because I do not think they are okay. Before we dive into this story, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the comment section channel if you've not already, and of course, ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our episodes. So first of all, I just want to set the scene for you guys, because this is what these women were acting like the day after the election. Just watch.
Bro, what is this? Why do you drink your cup like this? What the fuck? Is it? Okay, whatever.
So she captions this, 10 out of 10, highly recommend finding a quiet place in nature and screaming into the abyss today. And here's another.
I'm not speaking to men today. If a man speaks to me, I'm not speaking back.
Great. Excellent.
This might be... Okay, that's funny. Okay, so is she going to make the claim that there is a political lesbianism movement in the United States brought about because of Trump's victory, that women aren't going to have relationships with men anymore? Let's see if that's the claim that she makes.
Hard to believe, but are you aware that nobody gives a shit?
So obviously...
Also, this editing is going to give me an aneurysm. It's horrible. Why can't she just do regular long-form content like everyone else?
They are not doing well in the slightest. But you know what? Like I said in my episode about why I voted for Trump, they're angry. I understand. They wanted Kamala to win. It sucks when your candidate does not win. We all went through that in 2020. They are being dramatic, emotional women, per usual. We'll just let it blow over.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's no men that ever freak out about their candidate losing. Love that subtle insertion of sexism that we get from... Her name is Brett Cooper, right? The comment section. Is it with Brett Cooper? Yeah, with Brett Cooper. Okay. So, oh, they're just being emotional women. I mean, dude, people that post on TikToks are extremely dramatic because they're trying to make an engaging content for people. Why do you think you started your video off with 2 extremely dramatic TikToks? You're trying to get audience retention and engagement.
And then we'll get back to business. But then they kept going. And next, because they were so angry at men, they started posting about how they wanted to, decenter the...
It's been a week since the election, and Brett Cooper is talking about how, oh, well, we were expecting them to get over it in like 24 hours, but they kept going. Kind of a stupid thing to say.
patriarchy from their lives. And if men were going to vote to take away their rights to have abortions, which again is not happening, then they were once again.
Okay, what are we talking about? People's right to abortion is being taken away. I mean, we can look up how many states have abortion access right now. I mean, Center for Reproductive Rights. So expanded access is blue, protected is in yellow, not protected is orange, hostile, and then illegal. So, I mean, look at this. There's only, how many states that have expanded access? Just vast portions of the country, it's either illegal or, like, you cannot get access in it. And we've had women dying because they are unable to get abortion access. Even if women are getting abortion access by going to a different state or doing legal battles, that's making it way more expensive to get that health care that you need. So, yeah, of course, women are going to feel like they are being personally attacked when the president who set in motion the series of events that caused abortion to be repealed, abortion rights to be repealed by the Supreme Court, he took credit for it. His base has been pushing for this law to be overturned, for Roe versus Wade to be overturned. And when he gets reelected, lots of people were celebrating the fact that women aren't able to get abortion. So just straight up lying, saying that women are being dramatic because they aren't getting abortion access anymore, or they're being hysterical and it's in their mind. So yeah, like Candace Owens on the Daily Wire gets paid to attack black people and minorities. Brett Cooper on the Daily Wire gets paid to be sexist and attack women. So far, she's called them emotional, like unhinged and emotional, and now she's saying that they're imagining that their abortion rights are being denied to them.
That in 2020, they are being dramatic, emotional women. Per usual, we'll just let it blow over and then we'll get back to business. But then they kept going. And next, because they were so angry at men, they started posting about how they wanted to, decenter the patriarchy from their lives. And if men were going to vote to take away their rights to have abortions, which again is not happening, then they...
What are you talking about is not happening? Okay, whatever.
They were once again swearing off... Wow, what a revolutionary idea.
I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo. But...
Okay, to be fair, the clips of women that she's finding are pretty funny. Like, it is just entertaining. Why are you smoking, getting tattoos? That's a little bit of self-destructive behavior.
I also have decided that for the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men. As a woman, my bodily autonomy matters, and this is my way to exercise sovereignty over that. So I highly encourage any other women that are single and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily autonomy to do the same. If you need somebody to cuddle or hold your hand or give you a kiss, I bet you one of your girlfriends would do it, okay? And you don't even have to really be gay, okay? It's okay to have a lot of platonic love for the next 4 years.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that lesbianism is about to absolutely skyrocket. They are the real ones that are profiting off of this.
Okay, so, I mean, Brett Cooper is just laughing about that, but let's just be honest and treat that person with respect and dignity. The person that made that TikTok is making this TikTok, sending this message from a place of fear. She is fearing that if she does engage with sex with men, then she will have like life-changing repercussions, and these repercussions wouldn't have existed if the abortion rights were never denied from her. And I know Brett Cooper is laughing and joking about it, but let's just be honest. Women enjoy having sex just as much as men enjoy having sex. And when you have this possibility of like being forced into carrying someone's baby because you do not have the medical care that you have kind of grown up with, expected, and you do need, that is a really difficult decision. You now have to make the decision of, okay, well, if I have sex, am I ready to start this family? And of course, that's what conservatives want, because conservatives want young men to basically be in a situation where they can have a woman if they want to have a woman. They can have like a wife whenever they want. And so they do not want women to have bodily autonomy. They want women to graduate and basically go from their father's control to their husband's control. It's a very religious, very patriarchal view of women and their bodies. So, of course, not having abortion access, any number of things can go wrong when using birth control. And so abortion is always going to be there as kind of like a last measure to stop you from being pregnant if you have sex, if you engage in sex. And sex is a big part of relationships. Notice that the woman said, if you're single, I recommend you to not engage in sex. She's not saying don't have sex with men at all. And the reason with that is because if you're single, you're not in a position to like start a family and get married and spend the rest of your life with someone that you just had like a random hookup with, or like a friends with benefits type situation. You do not want to like spend your entire life with that person. So I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining like that this is a situation that women do not want to be in. They are not happy about the fact that they now feel like they need to refrain from having sex with men. Brett Cooper isn't really dealing with that fact, but I do think that, you know, she enjoys the fact that women are now unable to have casual sex with people in the states that abortion is illegal, or at least it's much more dangerous for them to have casual sex with people. And of course, that's what conservatives want. They want women to not have casual sex.
But anyway, here is another one.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid.
First thing that comes to mind is that
It's okay to have a lot of platonic love for the next 4 years.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that lesbianism is about to absolutely skyrocket. They are the real ones that are profiting off of this. But anyway, here is another one.
Okay, so she's admitting that it is going to impact people. And then also, the woman in the TikTok said that she didn't say become a lesbian. She just had to have like physical connections with platonic friends. So again, Brett Cooper just misreading the TikTok there.
One.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid. Especially in Florida.
And I said this in a previous episode, but women are going around screeching this online. Not every man is only considered with getting laid.
Bro, again, just like this casual misogyny coming from Brett Cooper saying that women are screeching about like their abortion rights online. Like the screechy type of woman, that's a misogynistic stereotype, right? So if we just look up what the rules are in Florida, it says Florida is enforcing a 6-week ban. On November 5th, despite the support of a majority of Florida voters, Amendment 4, which would have amended the state constitution to prohibit government interference with the right to abortion prior to viability, failed to meet the 60% threshold required to amend the Florida Constitution, which is insane. Like 57% of people supported the amendment, and it was still rejected. So far, Brett Cooper hasn't really said anything. She's made misogynistic jokes and said that lesbianism is going to increase, which she's basically agreeing with the people that she's reacting to.
So good luck to you. It's probably better that you're staying abstinent. That is a good thing for you mentally. Not all men care. This girl posted another video that was very similar. She said, if men won't respect our bodies, they don't get access to our bodies. Okay, this is why this is actually a good thing. You're abstaining from sex because you do not want to risk getting pregnant with somebody that you're not ready to start a family with. You don't want to sleep with a man who does not respect your body. Ladies, like, keep it up. This is fantastic. This is exactly what you should be doing. I know that you think that this is some sort of protest, but come on, you are literally helping everyone. Some guy tweeted in...
Okay, I mean, I don't think that refraining from sex with men and refraining from just being in relationships with men and even just socializing with men more. Why would you want to? I feel like, why would you really want to socialize with men if, you know, you're afraid that you might catch feelings with someone, and now suddenly everything's more serious. And also, if we just talk about the biological aspect of having sex, people do feel better after having sex. Men and women both have sex drives. But of course, Brett Cooper knows this. She knows it's an unreasonable ask to be abstinent. There's a reason why, like, that's the stupidest form of birth control there is. Humans are sexual creatures, and they have a desire to have sex. And so, if abstinence isn't the answer, then obviously, like, marriage is going to be the answer, and that's just more control of the patriarchy, more like religious control over people's lives. It's bringing women's rights back down, because when you have abortion, when you can engage in casual sex, you do have more autonomy as a woman, and you do not feel like you're tied down to a man, where now you're pregnant, now you can't work when you're giving birth, and when you're taking care of the child, you need to rely on the man to support you, and then you become a part of that man's household, right? So obviously abortion decreases autonomy for women. I think people should be able to have as many rights as possible, be as autonomous as possible, have as much support possible so that people can make decisions that they truly want to make, and they don't feel like they're forced into making a decision because of the material conditions that is pressuring them into that decision. So obviously, just to really explain why I think abortion is extremely important for women, is that it simply gives them more freedom. And I think that we, as leftist people, should try to maximize people's freedoms. That's why I do support government social services, to give people the freedom to live their life the way they want to live. They don't have to feel like they're stuck working like a 9 to 5 job, making minimum wage, barely paying rent, unable to save any money, and then they just work for their employer until they die. They can't afford retirement. They can't even afford to go to the hospital to get that like knee surgery that they've been putting off for years. I would like people to live in a way that they want to live, and I think abortion is a huge contributing factor for women living in a way that they want to live. Brett Cooper loves the fact that abortion is getting banned, and that's putting pressure on women to live in the way that she wants women to live. And that's a big difference between conservatives and leftist people. Leftist people will say, you know what? I want you to live the way you want to live. I'm going to try to set it up so you can make your own decisions. Conservatives will look at you and say, I want you to live the way I want you to live. I'm going to make rules for you, and you're going to have to follow them. That level of control is a through line throughout all of conservative politics, throughout all of conservative commentators. And if you kind of just go into reacting to conservatives in that way, then things become a lot more clear.
Said women on here are threatening to stop having casual sex and warning us that they'll start making sure their partners align with their values. How is the entire culture fixing itself from this one event?
How is the entire culture fixing itself from this one event? I mean, I don't understand making sure their partner aligns with their values. That doesn't have anything to do with abortion, right? Women were already selecting partners based off of their values. Like, you don't need abortion access revoked to break up with a conservative shitbag that you're on a date with.
I can't explain it. Another person commented and said, every few years, the feminists reinvent traditional values and act like they discovered electricity.
Okay, women complaining about not having access to abortion, and as a result of that lack of access, they're not going to have casual sex, is them not reinventing traditional values as saying that they're being feminist. That's not their value. That's just a strategy where it doesn't destroy their life.
I 100% agree, but the thing is, This never sticks. Another person commented and said, am I the only one who remembers 2016? This has happened before, and the women did not, in fact, fix themselves. Yeah, they tried this in 2016, and after the high of the attention wore off and everyone moved on, they went back to normal. They tried after Roe v.
Yo, Brad Cooper, you found 3 women's TikToks. Not even all of them were saying that I'm not going to have sex with men. How is this a movement? I mean, this is the issue with shows like the H3 podcast that I've been following, like fucking Brett Cooper, like Shoe on Head, where they try to make these movements off of nothing. There's no movement of political lesbianism in the United States. And 3 women saying that I'm going to abstain from casual sex with men immediately after like a literal rapist was elected president is not a movement. It's just people having reactions. And it's so stupid. Like, you're not even, she's not even criticizing the TikToks. She's criticizing this made up movement that she's using these TikToks to support. And that's just straight up not what's happening.
Wade was overturned. And guess what? That did not stick either. And they're doing this so that they can get attention and feel that moral superiority that they so desperately require. And you might be thinking right now, okay, Brett, it's ending here. They're going to do this. They'll move.
Saying you're not going to have sex with men because abortion's banned isn't being morally superior. There's no moral statement about that at all. She's not saying if you have sex with men, you're bad. And she's not saying that if you are a lesbian, you're good. It's literally a strategy to how to not ruin your life by a mistake in the bedroom. I mean, this is the thing. Brett Cooper's show, the comment section, is the perfect name for her show because she doesn't actually bring any value to anything that she's doing. She's not actually saying anything. All she's doing is finding like leftist stuff, finding comments that vaguely have something to do with the crazy leftists that she's playing. And then she just reads it on screen. She doesn't add anything to it. She doesn't even have cool transitions to like relate them. She's just like, here's leftist, and now someone said this. So I mean, Brett Cooper is just empty.
Move on in a few months, but no.
Well, think again!
I mean, maybe they realize that they can't do the same thing they've done 2 other times before, so now they're actually adopting something that we have talked about in previous episodes, which is the Korean 4B movement. And this is why I was so excited to do this episode, because I love when things overlap and we can do like a callback to another episode. But basically,
bro, she is such a vacuous fucking talker, man. She's like, wait a second, politics connect to politics in a different place? What is this, like the Avengers, where there's like the Hulk in one movie and then Iron Man in the other movie, and then in like 5 movies later they're connected? Oh my god, this is a crossover event. Oh my god, guys, we need to make this crossover event. I found 3 TikToks of women saying they're not gonna have sex. That's exactly like something that we talked about a year ago. Insane.
TLDR, feminism is rampant in South Korea. Their birth rate is plummeting.
Okay, the only actual piece of information I want to get out of this video is what 4B actually means. Like, I know the movement is just Korean political lesbianism, saying that I'm not going to engage with men in like relationships and sex, but what is 4B? Is it like 4-H in America, where you're like farmers?
Nobody's getting married, nobody's having babies, and feminists really made this worse by creating the 4B movement, which means no sex with men, no dating, no marriage, and no children. And many of these women make that their full-time job, so they can also add no money to the list. They literally mooch off of their fathers, which just makes it even more comical. Anyway, women in America have adopted this movement. Here's a few headlines.
Okay. So 4B, I guess that maybe in Korea, the dating, sex, marriage, and like moving in with men is B's or whatever. How is that a full-time job? Like, how does not interacting with men cause you to live with your father? I don't really understand that.
No dating, no marriage, no children. Interest grows in the 4B movement to swear off men. Boycott men. South Korea's 4B movement gains traction in the U.S. after Trump's win. Trump's election has women swearing off with men. But the thing is, guys, American women couldn't just stop there. They needed to feel special. They needed to do something that was unique and just a little.
Yo, girl, it's been less than a week since the election. When was this video posted? Okay, this video was posted literally a week after the election. I don't know how she can make these claims that movements are rising and falling in a week. It's crazy.
A little bit different. So they decided to start shaving their heads to put their own spin on this movement. Just watch.
Just woke up this morning feeling spicy. You guys feel spicy? Because I do. All right.
So this is literally someone that's just like, I feel quirky today. I'm going to do something outrageous. Definitively not part of a movement, because she's saying I'm doing something that deviates from the norm. She's not saying, oh, I'm going to join the 4B movement or the 4USA movement.
I don't know how to use this thing. Let's see
My
what
favorite
happens.
thing is that she keeps trying and
Is
it
this
never
cutting
works.
off hair? Being skinny, being hot, being all the things that the patriarchy wants us to be. And I'm talking to you too. Those of you ladies who have the internalized misogyny required to do what you did.
Thank you.
Minorities.
Okay, well, at least Brett Cooper's self-aware. She's like, okay, I am internally misogynistic. Also, don't shame ladies that are bald. Bald ladies can rock that stuff.
We're so scared of a woman in power
Get
that
a
you'd
cool
rather
handkerchief.
cozy up to the white man just in case some crumbs fall off his plate.
So that's the only reason I voted for Trump then, because I have internalized misogyny. I'm so afraid of a woman of color being in office, and I want some crumbs from Donald Trump. Give me a break. You're not even trying to
It's actually kind of an accurate description of what she's doing. She's literally just taking crumbs from like powerful men in her life. And obviously that's the internalized misogyny isn't the only reason she voted for Donald Trump. She definitely has huge economic incentives for getting him elected. Not only is she wealthy, but she also works for a conservative media conglomerate. So, yeah, but the internalized misogyny is kind of a prerequisite for being in the position she's in.
understand why 52% of women just like you voted for Donald Trump. You don't even want to think about it. You just want to shave your head and move on and say F this, which she continues to do throughout the entire video until the end.
Stop having sex with men. Stop talking to men. Divorce your husbands. Leave your boyfriends. Leave them. They don't give a shit about you. And I promise you, come over to this side. I will bake cookies. I will shave your head if you want me to.
How did we go from Britney Spears shaving her head to that being like, oh my gosh, she's really having a mental breakdown, to now this being some kind of female empowerment rallying cry? Did we forget what happened 20 years ago? And what we all
What is going on in this video? What was this shit? Okay, whatever. Also, like, obviously this woman's she's not in the best mental state right now. She even said, I'm feeling spicy, I'm feeling quirky, I'm kind of depressed that Donald Trump won.
thought about it. Like, how has this changed so quickly? Now, I know that there is a real psychological term for this, but this entire thing just screams, I'm unhappy, I'm insecure, and I want other people to feel as unhappy and insecure as I do. Like, she's literally urging women to leave their husbands, to leave their boyfriends, to be single and happy like her. I mean, she'll bake you cookies, she'll cuddle you. You just need to leave men and shave your heads and not be hot and skinny, because obviously all of that is terrible. I'm sorry, this is not a woman who wants the best for other women. A woman that genuinely wants the best for other women would be telling them about Thrive Cosmetics, which is exactly what I...
Jesus fucking Christ, what the Bro, are you serious? Wait, how long is this video? This video is 14 minutes long. No, we got through halfway through the video before we get, what, a minute long ad? Insane.
/Cooper for 20% off your first order. And so if you want to feel even more beautiful after Trump got elected and push back against all this nonsense, you can go order some of that makeup. And yet hundreds, maybe thousands of other women jumped in. Just watch. Come with me to shave my head and deconstruct internalized patriarchy. Great. You're so brave. Stunning and brave. I mean, girl bossing to the max. Here's another. When this is the only thing we have left to control ourselves. You're so dramatic. And then what is this person in the back hiding your face? You're cosplaying as oppressed. You're hiding somebody's face. You're sitting there. You're so somber. There are literally women across the world who are getting married off at 9 years old. Those are not women, girls that are getting married off to middle-aged men at 9 years old. Women who are literally publicly executed because they show their hair in public. Women who cannot get medical attention. Women who cannot go to school. And you're sitting here on your little TikTok app shaving your head because you want to seem like you're oppressed, because that gives your life value. That is what all of this is. Why are all of these
Bro, conservatives complaining about people doing oppression Olympics. Oh, well, I'm oppressed too. That's rich coming from conservatives. I mean, bitch, you're doing the same exact thing they're doing. You're making content and acting outraged by what the other side is doing. These women, you know, they're obviously making content out of this. If it was, I don't know. I just don't care about people posting TikToks, people posting depressed TikToks. You can criticize anything. You can find people that are like, oh man, like the last Batman movie was so bad. I'm so depressed. I'm going to burn all of my Batman stuff. And you can criticize them and being like, well, you're not actually interested in making Batman a franchise and getting people involved in Batman. You're not actually interested in helping fans feel better about the bad Batman movie that's happening. What we should be doing is banding together and reaching out to the producers, reaching out to the writers, and giving them constructive criticism. It's like, you can do this about literally anything. All this is her reacting to some women shaving their head bald.
middle-aged women? Again, like, this seriously screams, I need to feel important and relevant again, and I need to make other women, especially young women, feel as miserable as me. Like this poor girl. Like, what is this actually doing? It literally is doing nothing. And all of these feelings.
You're literally just putting on a video of someone shaving their head bald and you're like, this isn't doing anything. Well, why'd you play it then?
Of anger and frustration and insecurity are probably heightened because so many stunning, beautiful women all over this same app are literally celebrating Trump's win. They're celebrating their vote for Trump. Like, these videos are literally all over my For You page. This was right after he won. Here's another one. This absolutely beautiful, adorable mom. Like, she's precious. This is the other side of the internet right now. But I don't need to spend any more time showing you guys those videos because we literally did an entire episode about these women last week. But women moved right for Trump this year. White women specifically moved plus 11 points for Trump. So all of this head shaving, all of this drama, it is a desperate cope.
That is funny. Like, I mean, it's so telling, right? Brad Cooper plays clips of women that are celebrating Trump, and obviously they're all white. And then she's like, women moved right for Trump. Especially white women moved right for Trump. Like, I wonder why you only played clips of white women. I mean, 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. The conservatives fucking hate black women. And I don't know, this whole video is giving off the vibe of like, I mean, black women rock short hair already, and she's like criticizing people for shaving their head. So it's definitely giving off an extremely like white woman-y vibe type of video.
Coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.
It is a way to feel like they have some control over their lives, that they can stay relevant, they can bring other women down since they're probably angry that so many of us very happily.
Yeah, I don't think that people posting themselves shaving their head is their attempt to bring other women down. It's much more likely that they're just trying to express their dismay and give people the sense that they're not alone in their dismay, because let's be honest, this election was a blow to women's rights.
Voted for the Donald. I mean, they are desperate to hold on to this idea that they are so oppressed and have to fight back, but you're literally not. The Rally Girl on X put it well when she said, you live in the land of the free, with privileges.
I'm sorry. I'm just not going to engage in these arguments that women aren't being oppressed when you have had women have had a certain amount of rights that they've lived with for decades. And because of Donald Trump, they lost these rights. And now Donald Trump was elected again. So, I mean, what do you call it when you take away rights from a group of people? I wouldn't call it emancipation. I would call it a form of oppression. Like, if you lose rights, you are being oppressed. So I'm just going to read this because I can't stand Brad Cooper. You live in the land of the free with privileges you take for granted. You are not oppressed. I mean, yeah, literally are. Do you know what the real oppression is? Women and yeah, you're not oppressed because some women get married when they're 9 years old. What about you? You're rich. That doesn't mean they can't fight for more freedom. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, some liberals in America are shaving their heads to make a point. Did you think about donating that hair to Locks of Love? I mean, I'm sure that people probably did donate this hair. What is this argument? You rail against the system, yet it's because of capitalism and your right to free speech that you can vent on social media and even profit from it. That's funny. Assuming that without capitalism, there wouldn't be social media. Real feminists don't stand for this. Women who truly care about rights don't stand for this. Okay, I mean, there's not a 4B movement in America. Women shaving their head is not a 4B movement. It's
that you take for granted. You are not oppressed. Do you know what real oppression is? Women in Afghanistan have no voice. They are forbidden from going to school, visiting places of worship, going to gyms, salons, or even national parks. They can't work. They can't leave their homes without a man present or even choose their own clothing. Their basic rights and safety are literally under threat every single day of their lives. They do not have the freedom to leave an abusive situation.
I mean,
Meanwhile,
okay, let's just talk about that. Conservatives definitely do want to take away more rights from women. Not only did they take away their right to abortion, but they do want to take away these rights that this woman, that Valley girl, is describing. All fundamentalist religions are essentially the same, and while we do not have an extremely powerful fundamentalist Islamic group in America, we do have an extremely powerful fundamentalist Christian group in America, and they're basically the same thing in terms of their views on women. So what am I saying? We had marital rape being legal. That's something that conservatives want to go back to. We've had no-fault divorce trying to be banned in multiple states. J.D. Vance is against no-fault divorce. He does not want women to have the right to leave a relationship unless they have a specific reason that they can legally declare. So again, making it more difficult to leave men. We are banning abortion. We want to ban contraceptive care in general, or not we, but conservatives want to ban contraception in general. They want to make it harder to have casual sex and thus easier for men to have legal control over women through marriage. We have a man who does not respect women at all and disrespects women to the point where he views them as simply sexual objects. Donald Trump, found liable for rape, brags about sexual assault that he does on women, has a friend in Jeffrey Epstein, or had a friend, who is the most prolific sex trafficker of the modern age. So obviously Donald Trump is shining a spotlight on all of these misogynistic tendencies that he's like making it okay to have these tendencies. And then he is also representing an extremist group in America, which is this fundamentalist religious zealots that pretty much just see women as property. They will literally cite the Bible verse that the man is, or the woman needs to serve the man, the wife needs to serve the husband. And that is their view. So do not talk to me about women are complaining because their rights are getting taken away. What rights are getting taken away? Do you know the rights that people have in Afghanistan and in Iran? Why are you complaining? You're in America. You still have rights. I mean, yeah, conservatives want to take all of these rights away. They see Afghanistan, they see Iran as a goal to get toward, to move towards.
Present or even choose their own clothing. Their basic rights and safety are literally under threat every single day of their lives. They do not have the freedom to leave an abusive situation. Meanwhile, some liberals in America are shaving their heads to make a point. Did you think about donating?
I mean, that last sentence was so funny. They do not have the freedom to leave an abusive situation when literally J.D. Vance is against no-fault divorce. He wants to make it illegal. So yeah, I would expect women to get even more rights taken away in the next 4 years, and even more due to this extremely conservative Supreme Court.
that hair to locks of love, do you realize that you're trivializing the experiences of women with cancer and alopecia? You rail against the system, yet it's because of capitalism and your right to free speech that you can vent on social media and even profit from it. Real feminists.
Bro, shaving your hair, shaving your head bald is not trivializing the experiences of women with cancer or alopecia.
Do not stand for this. Women who truly care about rights don't stand for this. The 4B movement is a mockery of the real horrors that women worldwide are facing. It is embarrassing and it's tone deaf. And I completely agree with that. This impacted none of us other women in the slightest. Like, other than us seeing your video and going, ooh, okay, that is a bit much, maybe laughing at it, did not impact us. Men do not care, we don't care, but you know who does care? Well, like this poster just said, the women around the world who have lost their hair, whether that be to cancer or alopecia.
Oh my God. Please make the case that women in Afghanistan are getting triggered about white American ladies shaving their heads. Please make the case that Jada Smith is mad at these bleeding heart libs shaving their heads. I would love for the last 2 minutes of this video to be about that.
Sure, maybe it's fallen out due to the stress in their lives. That is who you've impacted. You are so focused on being martyrs and making yourself ugly.
Wait, Brett Cooper is literally saying that, you know what, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect men, the fact that you don't want to have sex and the fact that you're shaving your hair. You know who it does affect? Actual ugly people, actual bald people. That's so funny. That's such a funny conclusion to take from this.
To men, that you haven't stopped to think about what that means for men who can't have the hair that you're buzzing off. Are you saying that they are unattractive and that men don't like them because they're bald? I mean, f you, but I will let these women speak for themselves.
I am not part of this trend. Stop. There are people that have lost their hair, like me, and it has been devastating. You guys claim to be so caring and kind, but look what you're doing. You guys are not realizing that you are triggering people that have lost their hair, that have cancer. Shaving.
Bro, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. Like, Brett Cooper is literally being like, okay, in any other context, this person who would be like, why are you shaving your head? That's triggering to me. In any other context, Brett Cooper would be making fun of the person for being a snowflake.
Your head because you think you've lost your rights. You didn't lose your rights. Good job, assholes.
I mean, could not have said it better myself. Here's another woman that posted this week. She did one of those TikTok slideshows, and she said, to the women shaving their heads for the 4B movement, you say that you're shaving your head so that men won't want you. But does that mean that men wouldn't want women that have struggled with hair loss due to alopecia or chemo?
I don't think that's what they were saying. They were basically saying, I'm shaving my head because I do not any longer care about conforming to standards of beauty that have been placed upon us by the patriarchy, which, sure, go for it. I think that women can be beautiful bald. I think that women can be beautiful with extremely long hair. It doesn't matter. And I mean, it's so dumb. Why are we covering TikTok drama? Who gives a fuck? Why are we covering this?
Your actions are very selfish and it's
okay, honestly, I'm not even going to finish this video. This video has almost 1 million views in a day. It's crazy. All right, let's watch this.
Welcome back to the
26
comment section.
minutes long. Oh no. Okay, whatever. 1.1 million views. What other videos did she have? Okay, so the hunt for the silent election influencers on election day. Kamala's billion-dollar campaign disaster. Police stop, not a conspiracy. FEMA skipped over conservative homes during hurricane relief. Trump won. All right, let's just watch the big one. The left is losing it online. Donald Trump won. Kamala's major election night fails. All right, let's just watch this one.
Welcome back back to the comment section. My name is Brent Cooper, and to all of my subscribers and people who watch these episodes regularly, I just want to say that today's video might feel a bit different, and that's because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that you guys might share this video with some of your friends on the left who I'm sure are texting you or posting online. They're questioning why you voted the way you did, wondering if your friendship can survive this crisis, or hopefully, again, fingers crossed, this lands in the YouTube algorithm for people who are scared of a Trump presidency. They're wondering why on earth this 23-year-old woman would vote for Trump and vote against her rights, human rights, all of that. And today, I'm not even gonna try to change your mind. Maybe I do, that'd be cool, but I just wanna try and bridge the gap, maybe even share some of the joy and the unity that half of the country is feeling. Before we dive into this though, make sure that you like this video. If you've not already, please subscribe to the comment section channel. Maybe if you're a new viewer and you like it, you should stick around. And of course, ring that notification bell to 2016 to 2020, just like we survived a Biden presidency. I mean, even though we kind of barely skated by considering the state of the economy and being on the brink of war, but America—
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? On the brink of war with who? Honestly, on the brink of war with who? Russia? Iran? Donald Trump is electing Iranian warmongers onto his cabinet positions. We are going to go to war with Iran. Donald Trump is saying that Israel should bomb Iranian nuclear power plants. That's an act of war. That's an extreme act of war. That's an extreme escalation of war. Pretty much everything we've heard from Donald Trump has been escalating the war. And then in terms of Ukraine, sure, Biden is funding, like, essentially, we can essentially call it a stalemate, right? Biden's funding this proxy war in Ukraine against Russia. That's fine. I don't really give a shit about that. Donald Trump's going to come in and just say, yeah, Ukraine, you had a good run, but it's time to give it a rest, buddy. Just let Russia come in and take it over.
Americans are resilient. It will be okay, even if this is not the outcome that you were expecting. And yes, losing sucks.
And also, in terms of the economy, I mean, inflation has been curbed. The Inflation Reduction Act actually lived up to its name, surprisingly.
Said this on TikTok last night, but we literally have all been there. 2020 felt awful. It was literally terrible. It is so hard when you lose and the election feels so consequential like it has for the last 2 cycles. But I just want to remind you and say that under Trump, our money did go further. Our border was more secure. We had peace across the globe because world leaders respected him. They were intimidated by him and American power, which is objectively—
Oh my God, we did not have peace across the globe. I mean, we were literally at war in Afghanistan. Guess who ended that war? Joe Biden. Donald Trump escalated tensions with Hamas, which set up the October 7th attacks. Donald Trump escalated tensions with Iran greatly, and now to the point where we are almost at war with Iran. He just, like, tanked our relationship with Iran. I mean, yeah, Donald Trump, he increased the drone war by like 300%. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Donald Trump was not a peaceful president.
Americans are resilient. It will be okay, even if this is not the outcome that you were expecting. And yes, losing sucks. I posted this on TikTok last night, but we literally have all been there. 2020 felt awful. It was literally terrible. It is so hard when you lose and the election feels so consequential like it has for the last 2 cycles. But I just want to remind you and say that under Trump, our money did go further. Our border was more secure. We had peace across the globe because world leaders respected him. They were intimidated by him and American power, which is objective.
I mean, in terms of inflation, yeah, Donald Trump's, like, the inflation didn't get bad until the pandemic, and that is in large part due to, I mean, it's in large part due to the pandemic, but also Donald Trump's fiscal policies, which really caused inflation to, like, it kind of set the groundwork for inflation to happen under the pandemic. And then Joe Biden's presidency was essentially reeling in inflation through domestic like spending plans, like the Inflation Reduction Act, like the CHIPS Act.
A very good thing, and millions of Americans, your friends, your neighbors.
We can also talk about how tariffs really decreased people's spending power with China. Like, it caused prices to increase, and that's kind of what we're going to experience now when Donald Trump gets back into office.
Parents, people you don't know, felt at ease because of this, and they voted because they want that feeling back again. And most importantly, and I have to say this because I've been seeing it all over my social media, especially from my lib friends, in Trump's first term, your rights were not taken away. And yes, we will get into specifics. We will talk about Roe v. Wade, all of that, but we were very free. And I genuinely think that we are going to get even freer in Trump's second term. And if
Oh my God. Oh, government regulation is going to go out the window. We're all going to be so free. We're going to be free to defraud people with our crypto coin companies. We're going to be free to dump toxic waste into the water as, as a giant company that has factory plants. All of these freedoms that we've been asking for that Joe Biden has been restricting us from doing. Insane. Give me a fucking example of freedom that's going to affect people, not corporations.
you did have a terrible time starting in 2016, I would very gently and genuinely kindly urge you to take a second and just look inward and evaluate whether that was really because of Trump and the things that he did to you, or because of what people told you about Trump and wanted you to believe. Because in my experience of being somebody who was on the right, but growing up in a very liberal city, working in Hollywood, being friends with like 95% liberals growing up, the pictures painted by Trump and then by the media have been vastly, vastly different. But I understand that you still have concerns, so let's talk about it. Let's dive in to all of these fears. Now, I've been seeing my friends on the other side lamenting, being genuinely scared, genuinely very concerned over their futures and their safety, and they continue to cite one big overarching issue: human rights. Everybody's talking about human rights, so women's rights, gay rights, minority rights, most specifically. So let's start with abortion, which was basically the issue of the 2024 election. I have to laugh a little bit, and this might ruffle some feathers, but this was kind of a non-issue in the 2024 election. Like, Kamala was VP for 4 years, Biden was president for 4 years, and they did not overturn the Dobbs decision. It is not.
Okay, well, Biden definitely, she's saying two different things. Biden could, or he should have worked harder to enshrine abortion rights into law. However, that doesn't mean that abortion wasn't an issue in this election. There were 10 states that had a referendum. In 7 of the states they passed. Even in 4 of the conservative states they passed. And in Florida, it should have passed. I think I got that right. But essentially, yeah, it was so much of an issue that there were 10 states that had abortion referendums trying to add it to the state's constitution. And Kamala Harris ran on abortion. I don't know why she's saying that it's a non-issue.
Possible. It is ridiculous for her to run on that issue and promise you guys that she will be able to fix the situation. That was like the backbone of her campaign, and it was for nothing. It was just to get everybody emotionally riled up. And on the other side of the aisle, regardless of what Democrats have said, Trump has reiterated time and time again that he will not sign a federal abortion ban.
No, he hasn't. First of all, to be fair to Biden, the abortion the Roe versus Wade, the Dobbs decision that revoked Roe versus Wade happened in 2022? When was that overturned? Roe versus Wade overturned. Yeah, in June 2022. So to be fair to Biden, he didn't really see this coming. There was some rumblings, but it's not like at the beginning of his administration he had an entire 4 years to overturn it. And then the second thing is Donald Trump hasn't ever said that he would veto an abortion ban. The most he's done is said, "Oh, well, it wouldn't apply. We don't need to discuss it." Just because he wouldn't veto it. Republicans have always said we're gonna turn it back to the states. We're gonna make it so that the states, it's a states' rights issue, which is just a way of getting rid of the federal right to abortion. Now you don't have a federal right to abortion, you have a local right to abortion, and now you're going to have a federal ban on abortion. It's just like a pretty simple step-by-step process, and we're even, as soon as Roe versus Wade was overturned, Lindsey Graham tried to pass a bill that made there was a federal ban on abortion. So obviously conservatives want to have a federal ban on abortion, and Donald Trump, pretty famously in the debate, he wouldn't say that he would veto a federal ban. He just said that it would be irrelevant, it would never happen. So we don't have to discuss the question.
And that is not what he wants. He got Roe v. Wade overturned because he believed that it should be the power of the states. And in fact, since Roe v. Wade was overturned, abortions have actually increased in this country. Access has increased in most states because of the abortion pill. Obviously, things in red states have changed, but you can freely travel if you need that care. And that is something that Trump believes in. Of course, this...
And guess what? Conservatives are trying to make it illegal to travel into other states in order to get abortion care. If you live in Texas, conservatives want to make a list of everyone that's leaving Texas to get abortion care and then charge you with it. So, yeah. Red states are also trying... how much more evidence do we need that conservatives want to ban abortion nationwide? You have the revoking of abortion rights nationwide. Then you have states immediately banning abortion in their state. Now you have state conservatives talking about how they want to make it illegal to get abortion care outside of the state. And you have national federal conservatives bringing up federal abortion bans.
Is, much to the dismay of many pro-life voters. Full transparency, I'm pro-life. I don't really like any of this, but you know what? I still voted for the man. Trump believes strongly in the exceptions of rape, incest, and life of the mother, which is something that you guys talk about all the time that you're very concerned with. He is on record having concerns with 6-week heartbeat bills. His wife wrote an entire book where she talks about her...
So just one thing. In my interview with a Trump supporter, I said I was generally against abortion. That's definitely a poor choice of wording that I used. Basically, I was trying to make the point that I am pro-abortion, but I also think that we should really try to focus on birth control and better sexual education, simply because in the way that I talk about abortion, I do adopt a lot of right-wing framing on it, in the sense that right-wingers will talk about trying to minimize abortion. And a lot of, the answer to that question would be that if you want to minimize abortion, you should try to make people need abortion less. How do you make people need abortion less? Well, first of all, you can obviously make people have a better life in general, have more money, have them be in a position where they can start a family and they don't feel like, if I have a kid, I'm going to go bankrupt. That's step number one. Step number two is reduce the number of pregnancies in the first place. That's sexual education, better contraception, that's kind of it, right? And just better healthcare in general, so people can find out they're pregnant quicker. They're not afraid to go to the doctor because that would bankrupt them. That's like a month paycheck gone if they go to the doctor's office. And when conservatives talk about how, I believe that abortion should be illegal, but the exceptions are rape, incest, or the life of the mother. It's like, if you are ever talking with a conservative in that regard and they bring that up, then you can say, yeah, well, I believe that abortion should be illegal, except unless you have the consent of the woman who's trying to get the abortion. And that's pretty much my position. If conservatives insist on talking about the legality of abortion, you can come at them with that. Yeah, I think medical procedures should be illegal if you don't have the consent of the person. That's how literally every medical procedure goes. So, because we do live, unfortunately, in a country where abortion is being attacked over and over again, and people come at you trying to say that, we should try to, leftists just want to have so many abortions, then you can kind of come at them at the same playing field that they're coming at abortion rights. If they're saying, abortion is so out of control, people are just having abortions for fun, it's their form of birth control, you can be like, okay, well, if you really wanted to reduce abortion, then you should be focusing on these issues. You should be focusing on having people living better lives, making medical costs cheaper, increasing access to sexual education, increasing access to contraception, and you can come at them on that playing field. And then also in terms of the legal framework and actual rights to abortion, obviously you just treat abortion as every other issue. I don't think there's anything to be gained from people talking about it in terms of when is the fetus viable, when are fetuses real people, because honestly that's entirely irrelevant when we're talking about rights for you to make decisions about your own body. So again, yeah, if you want to have access to abortion, I think all you need to do to have access to it is to consent to the abortion. Just wanted to clear that up. And maybe it will give you a bit of an easier time talking to conservatives.
Pro-choice beliefs. I mean, guys, like, they lied incessantly about this issue. Like, Trump almost lost voters because of his stance on abortion on the right side of the aisle. Meanwhile, Kamala and Biden were relentless in tweeting, he will take away all your rights. He is so pro-abortion. He literally is not. But the one thing that I think all of us can agree on...
I mean, Trump personally is probably not anti-abortion. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's paid for a few women to get abortions. However, his base, again, is this evangelical cult that's extremely fundamentalist, and he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck if women don't have access to abortions anymore. He has private doctors. If he gets someone pregnant, he can just pay for the private doctor to perform the abortion procedure. He doesn't care.
One of the many reasons that we love Trump is because he doesn't bend a knee or compromise his beliefs. You know, take him or leave him as he is.
Saying Trump doesn't bend a knee or compromise his beliefs is hilarious. Donald Trump has no beliefs. He is an empty vessel, and he will do whatever the highest bidder tells him to do. He doesn't care. All he knows is that I'm getting money from Elon Musk. I'm getting money from Miriam Adelson. I'm getting money from conservatives. I'm getting money from Israel. I'm going to do whatever these people tell me to do. I'm getting crypto money. I'm going to deregulate crypto. I mean, he doesn't care. At this point, he's just trying to, gain power and stay out of prison. And Donald Trump likes it when people come to him. It makes him feel like, the mafia boss, the guy who was running that game show. People come to him with an issue, they'll give him money, and he'll solve that issue for him. So saying Donald Trump isn't influenced by people is comical.
He does not play games like the rest of DC politicians. That's why he's so refreshing and why we like him. Now, the same women that are obviously very concerned with abortion.
I mean, just lying here. Before he even got into politics, he was literally describing how he would bribe people. If I want to build a building in Chicago, I gotta donate like $100,000 to the mayor there, and then they'll make those permits go much quicker, and I can actually get that building constructed.
Are also concerned with pro-life laws in these red states impacting the care that they can receive. And so I will say this once and for all, miscarriage care does not equal abortion. It does not equal abortion reproductive care. And if your doctors do not understand the difference between those two things and refuse you care, that is medical malpractice. That is not Trump's fault. Trump did not do that to you or to those doctors. That is medical malpractice. And unfortunately, medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in the United States. So let's take this issue up with the medical industry.
Bro, is that true? Okay, I need to look this up. Leading causes of death, fast stats: heart disease, cancer, accidents, unintentional injuries. Okay, so is she gonna lump medical malpractice in with accidents? Is that actually what she's doing? Okay, whatever. I mean, we can just assume that that's a lie.
And big pharma, and not blame it on Trump. And hopefully RFK Jr. will shake things up. Hopefully we will get through that corruption, because it is unacceptable if they refuse you care because they are worried about what's going on in these red states, because none of those laws prevent you from getting miscarriage care or the reproductive care that you need. With stories like Amber Thurman in Georgia, Trump abortion bans, of which there are none because he did not make those laws, did not kill her. No matter what Kamala said, no matter what the media said, she died very tragically, very unfortunately, because of abortion complications and delayed care. The abortion pill put her into
Okay, yeah, delayed care. If you can only operate on someone when you are sure that the fetus is dead, that's going to delay care, and that can cause to complications. I mean, it's ridiculous what she's trying to say right now.
Shock. She waited hours to go to the hospital.
Is she really making the case that these abortion bans aren't due to Donald Trump? Ridiculous.
And for some godforsaken reason, when she got there, her doctor said, we'll wait until tomorrow to do a DNC or a hysterectomy. We'll just push it off. Here's some antibiotics.
Okay, so I feel like I don't need to explain this to my progressive audience because I'm pretty proud of you guys. You know a lot of what's happening, but doctors are getting called out by conservative lawmakers and saying that if you do perform abortion, we're going to put you in jail. Thus, the doctors are very hesitant to perform abortions, and we have these exceptions, like in the case that the mother's health is at risk, like the life of the mother is at risk, or rape or incest. Extremely difficult to prove rape. You need to actually get that trial done, and then by the time the trial is complete, a lot of the times women are too far along, and you can't do the abortion anyway because their fetus is too developed or whatever. I'm not 100% sure on like every law throughout the country. So rape, very difficult to prove, and difficult to get permission to do that, to have that be an exception that you can perform the abortion because of. Life of the mother, also extremely difficult to prove. A lot of the times, state law is not abundantly clear about what constitutes a life-threatening condition. Essentially, the mother has to be in the process of dying before doctors feel like they have enough of a legal reason to perform this abortion. This is what's called a numbing effect or a chilling effect, where you have a law, it's purposely unclear, and that will cause people to basically over avoid whatever the law is trying to punish. And they're going to do that because it's not clear. And if they just, if the doctor's like, okay, yeah, I think like down the line, this is going to cause complications that could threaten your life, we're just going to perform the abortion right now. That is in the best interest of the person carrying the fetus and the person that needs the abortion. However, the doctor is going to get sued for that. The doctor is going to be put in prison for that. They're going to lose their license in that state. So it's a chilling effect. And it does cause delayed care, and this is why we've seen 2 women die because they live in states where abortion access is restricted.
Just sit here in this bed, we'll figure it out tomorrow, and she died. Another thing that people don't bring up is that this hospital is also one of the poorest reviewed in the entire state of Georgia. 2 stars. And no.
It's a 2-star hospital. It has nothing to do with the abortion laws. It's that the hospital's so low. Okay, that's a unique argument. I haven't heard that one before. Just why would you go to a 2-star hospital? I know that you're in the process of dying, but come on, check the Yelp reviews on the hospital before you go there.
Oh, those reviews are not just about Amber. I read through hundreds of them this morning. They are all about their own individual experiences. They are not in light of this story. That hospital is just that bad, and that is a problem in and of itself. Now, Kat Pons, you guys might know her on TikTok. I think that their TikTok page is just called The Pons. She's an amazing creator. She gained a following after talking about her and her husband's infertility journey, the death of their firstborn daughter, Edie, her IVF journey, which gave them her second daughter, Matilda. Kat has needed real miscarriage and fertility care firsthand, and she needed this while living in a red state. She's never gotten political. She hasn't really shared much of these stories at all, but this is what she posted yesterday. She was talking about the stories that people do know and they don't know, and she said the one that you do know is me losing Edie. After she passed at 25 weeks gestation, I was immediately offered an induction or medical abortion. My life was not in any danger, but my body was not in labor and had not recognized that my baby had passed yet. No doctor even suggested that I would be forced to carry my baby until my body decided to deliver her or until my life was in danger. This was very clearly a stillbirth. Some would say miscarriage or abortion, although I do not. That was properly and quickly handled with no mention of the law in place. This hospital is extremely well known and would not risk breaking any laws for little old me or anyone else in this situation. This was completely legal. On the next slide, she says the story that I have not shared.
Hey, that's great. Good for you. Again, if people are in other situations, like maybe the fetus isn't completely dead, but it's dying, it's dying, or it is causing your body to be in distress and you aren't able to survive the pregnancy, that is a different situation. So great. I'm super glad that she received the healthcare that she needed. However, I love how Brett Cooper says that this isn't political. She's quite obviously posting this as a response to people saying that I was denied abortion access and birth care.
is that when I was pregnant with Matilda, after my cerclage, and when I was told my water broke at 21 weeks, I was pushed heavily to have an immediate abortion. My life was not in danger, and neither was Matilda's. Her heart was still beating. Again, this is in a red state, and doctors are saying, okay, things don't look great, you should go ahead and have an abortion. I was in the same accredited hospital in a red state and was at gestation past when the abortion law permits legal abortion. This nurse told me that the likelihood of your baby living is slim to none, so we can take care of this as soon as you'd like to prevent you from more hurt. This makes me want to cry because I've seen her daughter and she's just so beautiful. Obviously, I did not take that option, even though this nurse thought that I was crazy for choosing to stay pregnant, and Matilda is here, alive, and well. But the point that I am making is that the media has been sharing extremely rare cases similar to mine, often involving medical malpractice, to scare you into believing that your options to handle a very wanted pregnancy with complications are limited and dangerous. It is simply not the case. Now, she went on and she talked about a few other things. She shared messages that she's been receiving.
I mean, yeah, you could get to the bottom of this issue by looking up the laws, but of course Brett Cooper's not going to do that. And let's just do this. We have this abortion map right now. Let's look at Texas. So Texas is enforcing its trigger ban, which prohibits abortion and includes civil and criminal penalties. Let's click on Texas. So abortion bans, gestational ban, 6-week. What is LMP? Abortion restrictions, mandatory ultrasound requirement, biased counseling requirement. So that's when people will counsel you to not have the abortion. Waiting period requirement, where you have to wait a period of time before you have the abortion. Facility requirements, that's essentially a law to try to restrict the number of abortion clinics that can exist by saying that an abortion clinic has to have like a certain width in its hallway, and that if you do not follow these specific requirements, then you cannot operate as an abortion facility. Trap requirements, providers, reporting requirement, admitting privilege requirement, parental involvement, parental notification and consent requirement, abortion protections, no protections. So not great. Let's take a look more at Texas. So Texas's trigger ban, which criminalizes abortion, took effect on August 25th, 2022. Because abortion is now a crime in Texas, other criminal laws, including solicitation, aiding, attempt, and conspiracy, could apply to abortion. In 2022, the Texas Supreme Court prohibited only criminal enforcement of the pre-Roe abortion ban and allowed for civil enforcement. So in 2023, the state created limited affirmative defenses to civil claims brought against physicians for treating ectopic pregnancies or providing miscarriage management. So yeah, they're basically allowing people to do civil claims against physicians for treating ectopic pregnancies, which essentially is a miscarriage. So Texas has not repealed other laws relating to abortion. Texas law retains gestational bans at 6 weeks before many people know that they are pregnant. The Supreme Court allowed this ban to take effect on September 1st, 2021 and remain in effect. Texas law also prohibits abortion at 20 weeks post-fertilization and during the third trimester. Texas law continues to include requirements that pregnant people must undergo a mandatory 24-hour waiting period, bias counseling, and an ultrasound, and prohibitions on public funding and private insurance coverage. IT continues to require that a parent or legal guardian must be notified prior to minor's abortion and consent to it, or that a judge can approve a minor's petition. So once again, this is another example of these conservatives really caring a lot about minors and basically women being controlled. So basically it's like you need your parents to consent to the abortion. Again, it is encouraging control for your parents, and then conservatives also encourage women to be controlled by their spouses. So basically they want to limit women having freedom as much as possible. They want you to be controlled by your parents and then go directly into a marriage where you're controlled by your spouse. Okay, let's continue this dumb stuff.
Even from OBGYNs and labor and delivery nurses saying, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for saying what the media will not tell women. And so she shared this.
Okay, so again, a single Instagram post is not a great way of describing people's abortion bans and their experience with the system, when we can pretty easily and quickly come up with like just identify laws that completely contradict what that person was talking about.
I'm sharing this with you to hopefully show you that it is not always what the media makes it out to be. Find better doctors, hold them accountable, do not be afraid, because the care that you need.
Also, I mean, this it's such privilege, right? Saying, oh, just find better doctors. People in these red states really do not have a choice in what hospital they go to. There is a medical desert in these states. They are not getting the required health care that they need. And saying that, oh, just go, you can go to a different state, or you can just go find better doctors, it's an extremely privileged position.
Need in these rare situations is legal, and Trump.
I mean, a lot of women can't even afford to take time off of work to drive to a different state or like spend a few days in a hospital getting your abortion taken care of.
Does not want to stay in the way of that at all. In fact, he wants to help moms. That's why he got RFK Jr. involved in his campaign. They will fight to hold doctors and Big Pharma accountable.
Bro, RFK Jr., I mean, that guy should probably be in jail for like sexually harassing people. Same with Elon Musk. What are we talking about here?
To hold our food conglomerates accountable so that moms can stop worrying about what their kids are eating and the accelerating rates of chronic illness and obesity in this country. And by the way, one of the very cool things that, Trump 2.0 has done is that he has surrounded himself by people who disagree with him. I mean, RFK is incredibly pro-choice. And you know what? Even pro-life people are excited about him because they know that even though they disagree with him on that, they know that he will do good things in the medical industry and that he will help protect them. And while he might be pro-choice, other people who are working with Trump are not. There will be this diversity of opinion and voices fighting for you and fighting for your families. That is why so...
What the fuck are you talking about? A diversity of opinions fighting for you? Well, people want abortion access. Why would they care about a diversity of opinions if that's not going to affect the abortion access they get?
So many voters came over from the left because they were so excited about this. Now, Trump also wants to give tax credits to families and wants to make IVF and fertility treatments covered by the insurance companies or by the government. He said this just a couple months ago. This is not a man who is taking away your birth control or your ability to have children or your ability to get an abortion if you want. I mean, on Truth Social a few months ago, he said, I have never and will never advocate imposing restrictions on birth control or other contraceptives, and yet that is a lie that has been...
Yeah, why would we listen to what he's saying on Truth Social? Okay, let's just take a look at this NBC News article. Trump says he wants to make IVF treatments paid for by government or insurance companies if elected. He said in an interview with NBC News that if he's elected, his administration would not only protect access to IVF, but would also have either government or insurance companies cover the cost of the expensive service for American women who need it. We're going to be, under the Trump administration, we're going to be paying for that treatment, Trump said before adding, we're going to be mandating that the insurance company pay. Asking to clarify whether the government would pay for IVF services or whether insurance companies would do so, Trump reiterated that one option would have to be insurance companies pay under a mandate, yes. I mean, that's fine. Of course, I'm not a fan of insurance companies, and it's a single fucking interview that Trump did, so there's no reason to believe him.
Inherited for years at this point from the mainstream media. So point blank, full stop, this was a non-issue. Now, second up, I know that a lot of people are concerned with LGBTQ issues. In fact, I was on my private Instagram account with all of my old friends, and oh my God.
Okay, so, I mean, just to recap the first half of this video where she talks about abortion, what do we get? Well, we got an anecdote of a woman saying that I live in a red state and I was given abortion access. It's like, okay, great. There are red states that have abortion access because you voted on your right to have an abortion. So pretty stupid there. And then she said that Trump isn't against abortion, and actually he has some people in his cabinet that are not against abortion. Isn't that a great idea that we're going to have conflicting opinions? Meaningless.
I kept seeing the same infographic posted saying, here's therapy for queer voices, here we're going to advocate for you if you need mental health support in light of this election. And I was just sitting here and I was like, how How are people so genuinely afraid? Like, I just want to remind you that Trump was actually the first president who came into office supporting gay marriage. And I know things move fast these days, and we were all young when other people were.
Okay, so let's take a look at something. Trump on trans people. Let's see here. So Donald Trump just he just had a speech. Let me see if I can find a video of it. Anyway, so he's obviously like adopted the right-wing line on trans people. We can take a look at let's just take a look at this AP News article. So Trump pledged to roll back protections for transgender students. They're flooding crisis hotlines. Transgender youth in the United States have been flooding crisis hotlines since the election, who made anti-transgender themes central to his campaign. Many teens worry about how their lives could change once he takes office. During his presidential bid, Trump pledged to impose wide-ranging restrictions and roll back civil rights protections for transgender students. And his administration can swiftly start work on one major change. It can exclude transgender students from Title IX protections, which affect school policies on students' use of pronouns, bathrooms, and lockers. So, yeah, I mean, there's a very clear things that Donald Trump is doing. I'm just going to pull up a video. Let me go to pull up a video from Kyle Kalinske. A shout out. He's doing great work in this post-election season that we're in. Let's listen to this.
So Donald Trump has broadcast to the country that he plans on cracking down on trans people. We have a video here. Remember when he was releasing a whole bunch of policy videos for a while? We have his take on trans issues here. Let's watch.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children.
That's a lie. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I have the numbers here in a second. I'll walk through the exact numbers with you in a second. But the idea that children are getting, gender surgery is just not accurate. It's not correct. So that's the first point. This is shadow boxing here. It's picking an issue that's red meat to the base that'll get them all riled up, and throwing it out there. But there is no actual problem here because it's not actually happening, okay? But he's going to take it further, so wait for it.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age.
At any age.
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty much an attack on all fronts. And this is a 15-minute long video. Definitely would recommend you checking it out. And we can just see that what Brett Cooper is talking about here, where he's not attacking gay people, he's not attacking trans people, is completely ridiculous. So we can also look at support for gay marriage in America. And we can see that there has been dropping. If we take a look at a Gallup poll, and when was this posted? So this was in, do you think marriages between same-sex couples should or should not be recognized by the law as valid with the same rights as traditional marriages? So we can see since 2023, it was at 71%, and now it's dipped down. And I think if we break this down between Republicans, it's even worse. I think if we look at the Pew Research Center, I did see, let's take a look at the detailed party. So if we look at Catholics, yeah, I mean, we have seen a decrease in the views on same-sex marriage. When was this article posted? This was in 2019. It has definitely been, and like recently, we've seen a pretty big dip. Support for gay marriage in U.S. by party. Okay, here we go. So Republicans, red, 55%, and then we have a dip down to 46%. So that's a 10-point decrease in Republicans. And we have even seen a decrease in Democrats by 4 points from 87% in 2022. And then in the past two years, we've seen this decrease in support for gay marriage. So saying that people's views on LGBTQ it's not going to make their lives worse underneath a Republican presidency is just false. We can see that the attitudes towards like queer people is just getting worse, pretty much staying the same among Democrats, but definitely getting worse against Republicans. This is a significant drop since like 2020 to 2024. And yeah, like I'm not exactly sure where this hatred towards gay people and LGBTQ is coming from, but it has been a pretty large campaign by the Republicans, specifically targeting trans people. And we've seen that getting picked up by people.
Were in office, but that was something that the Obamas, the Bidens, the Clintons were not in favor of until 2010. Obama came into office not supporting same-sex marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman.
And yet there...
All right, well, can't refute the numbers, right? Take a look at Republicans compared to Democrats. Like, I'd like to see her try to defute that. Where was this article? It was what, like 46% of Republicans and like 83% of Democrats?
Are videos from Trump in the 90s and the early 2000s being like, hey, yeah, dudes like dudes, free love. What do I care? And yet you never see that side of him.
And now he's
Trump
against
also
trans
appointed
people.
the first gay cabinet member to the U.S. government, and he launched the first global initiative to decriminalize homosexuality around the world. He is not wanting to keep you all from loving who you love or marrying who you want to marry, and neither are the people that he has surrounded himself with. Just listen to Vivek.
So my message to gay Americans is this. You're free to love who you want, to marry who you want if you want, without the government standing in your way. But that doesn't mean that boys should be able to compete with girls in girls' sports. 100%. And that doesn't mean that we subject our kids to over-sexualization or genital mutilation or chemical castration. And I think we should be able to draw...
do we need to talk about the Don't Say Gay bill that happened in Florida, where they're trying to make it illegal for teachers to even bring up the idea that they might be in like a same-sex relationship? There's pretty clearly one party who is anti-gay, anti-trans, and then they're just, they're hiding behind it. Oh, well, we're not actually anti-gay. We just think that trans people shouldn't be allowed to play in girls' sports.
All those distinctions.
And I completely agree. We definitely have lines in the sand that some of you might not agree with, but I actually think that they are very common sense lines in the sand, which kind of takes us to what Trump will do on these issues, because
and I'm not even going to get into defending trans people. Trans people have a right to exist. Trans girls have a right to play in sports with other girls their age. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I do not feel like defending the humanity of an extremely small, extremely marginalized group of people. I don't think that my audience needs me to defend the humanity, explain why they shouldn't be discriminated against. And I know that it's an issue because it seems like both Democrats and Republicans are kind of attacking trans people at this point of time. But honestly, to me, it makes me sad to try to explain why we shouldn't hate a group of people.
Trump does want to protect women's spaces, and for those of you who are concerned with women's rights, I hope you see how important and positive this is. Trump wants to protect Title IX, which...
I'm not anti-trans. I'm just a TERF. I'm actually pro-women by being anti-trans. That's literally what she's saying. Oh, I don't want my daughter to see a trans woman in the bathroom. Really stupid
shit. By the way, Biden and Harris tried to rewrite at the expense of women this year. Trump wants to keep biological men who have clear scientific biological advantages out of the women's sport, so the women have the opportunity to thrive and compete and win on their own without fear of...
I'm sorry, these trans arguments are just they're so bad. Like, it's such a non-issue. It's such a non-issue that it's pretty much irrelevant to talk. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. There's barely any trans athletes. There's like 40 trans athletes in all of the United States. And guess what? Girls and boys are pretty much the same when they're growing up. I mean, once you go through puberty, then boys start to become a little bit more physical than girls. But before puberty, they're the same. Haven't you ever heard of like co-ed soccer leagues? Are you gonna try to ban those next? If you go on hormone blockers and then once you age and then you want to transition, you're not going to be physically any more dominant. Like, let's just say you're born as a boy. You're assigned male at birth, AMAP. You want to transition into being a girl. You can go on puberty blockers, start taking estrogen, start taking hormone replacement therapy. You're going to be the exact same physically as other women. So there's not a built-in advantage. Even if there was a built-in advantage, tough luck, man. I really don't give a fuck. Women have built-in advantages over other women anyway. I could not care any less than I do about the women in sports thing. You know what I do care about? Single teenage kids being targeted by their Republican governors, by their Republican state legislatures, by fucking insane conservative freaks like Brett Cooper, like Ben Shapiro, like Ron DeSantis, having laws made to exclude single people. That's what I care about. I care about trans women getting sent into male prisons and then like undergoing horrific sexual violence there. I care about trans people being fucking hate crimed. That's what I care about. I don't think it's an issue in the idea that Republicans are saying it is, where, like, I mean, they're not even saying that it's a real issue. I think they've gotten away from trans people molesting children. They're now saying that doctors are molesting children and trying to make, in the process of trying to make them trans. And they're saying that the sports is a big issue. Oh yeah, I don't want my daughter to go up against a boy in her sports. Yo, tough fucking luck. I couldn't, again, I can't care less.
Having to compete against a 6'3" broad shoulders man who was born as a man and went through puberty as a man. I mean, this is why we fought for Title IX in the first place, so that women would have privacy and have security and have our own spaces. I mean, that's just common sense. That is actually being very empathetic and kind to women. And this big one that I know a lot of people hate,
please bring up Imani Khalif, the boxer.
Wants
Please
to
bring
stop
that up.
the medical transitioning of minors. And maybe we will never agree on this. And this is something that I personally will never compromise on. To us,
There aren't any minors medically transitioning. They can go on hormone blockers, which minors have gone on before. If minors are getting top surgery, there's people getting top surgery, like getting mastectomies, isn't necessarily transitioning. You can, as a child, you can get a mastectomy for a multitude of reasons. Maybe you've just developed too much and it's giving you backaches and you want a breast reduction. Maybe you have breast cancer and you need to get that surgery done. Just looking up the amount of mastectomies and surgeries for children isn't actual evidence of the amount of trans kids that there are. And no one is doing, there's no minors getting bottom surgery. There's no minors surgically transitioning. And if Brett Cooper is talking about medical transitioning, if anything, that's puberty blockers, which why wouldn't she be a fan of if she's concerned about biological men competing in women's sports? It's, I mean, they just want trans people to not exist. But they, I mean, in all honesty, they do kind of want trans people to exist so that they can keep scapegoating them.
and to him, it makes no sense. And it seems totally wrong that children with developing minds can go to the doctor, be given an approval note literally from a therapist online, which yes, is happening, and can immediately be put on puberty blocking drugs that are literally used to chemically castrate criminals and offenders in our society. Do what you want as an adult. I don't care. Call yourself whatever you want, dress however you want, marry whoever you want to marry. I don't really care, but we need to stop chemically castrating children.
I mean, that's a lie, right? Also, hormone blockers, puberty blockers don't chemically castrate people. She said they can be used to chemically castrate people. Like, okay, are they being used in this way? It's like how, oh, ivermectin was a horse dewormer. It can be used for horse deworming, and then but she's probably a defender of ivermectin. Also, when she says, I don't care what you do if you're an adult, that's just a lie. Conservatives definitely care what adults do. If we go back to the Donald Trump clip that I was playing with the secular talk, he's talking about how he wants to make it illegal for adults to transition as well.
Factured issue among the online right. Nobody brings it up to him in real life.
In all 50 states, it'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately.
This right here is the first time he's actually talking about something super extreme. Because he didn't just say surgery, he said chemicals too. So in other words, no treatment for any youth, even if they've officially been diagnosed.
Yep.
We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination.
So you're not even allowed to discuss trans stuff, even if a student is asking you about it. He wants to make it so you can't say anything.
And
so it's basically like making it illegal to be trans in public.
Elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique.
So in other words, teach standard gender role rigid bullshit. That's what he's saying here. Jesus Christ, man. They really are just stuck in the past. They're really...
Yeah, so, I mean, how is that not an attack on queer people in general?
Children, we need to stop chopping off their genitals and their breasts before they are even developed
Not
under
happening.
the guise of kindness and inclusivity, often rendering them infertile and without the ability to ever experience sexual pleasure or ever have an orgasm in their adult life. That is insane.
Oh, so now she cares about sexual pleasure, right? When she was discussing women saying that they're not going to have sex with men in the last video, she was like, good, you sluts. Why were you even wanting to have sex with men? Now she's like, trans people cannot have can never have any sexual pleasure or orgasm.
And we're doing that to 10-year-old kids. Kids that often grow out of these feelings. Kids who are usually just going through weird hormonal changes and don't know where they're fitting in. Kids that often...
She's just completely lying here. Oh, we're doing this to 10-year-old kids. A lie. Kids that often grow out of these feelings. Lies. Like, we're not saying that any of these operations are irreversible.
Transition later in life, but cannot undo the irreversible damage that has been done to them by doctors. It must stop. But other than that, I really...
Also, transitioning surgery, the regret rate for that is one of the lowest regret rates out of any medical procedure that you'll ever find.
Do not think that Trump cares about who you sleep with and who you marry. Like, he genuinely has bigger issues to concern himself with, like
No, he definitely cares. I mean, in that speech that we saw, he said that we're going to make it illegal to even suggest that you can have same-sex attraction or that you can be trapped in a different body. Maybe you more identify with female and you're not identifying with the body that you inhabit. So, yeah, that's basically making it illegal to be gay or trans in public. At least, yeah.
Unprecedented inflation, the recession, impending nuclear war, Israel, Palestine, Iran, gas prices, all of it. He cares about that a lot more than he cares about involving himself in your bedroom. Just say, I mean, Americans can barely afford the grocery store anymore, let alone a good quality steak, but thanks to Good Ranchers, they don't really have to worry about that because they are trying to make this holiday season more affordable for you. Because let's be honest, between the holiday chaos and questionable meat quality at grocery stores, preparing the perfect meal can feel overwhelming. And that is where Good Rancher steps in to transform your 2020. Oh, that's not what a lot of you are thinking about right now. Now, a lot of people are also very concerned with racism. We all lived through 2020. We lived through BLM. That was like the...
So just let's take a moment to like comment on the how this video is set up. She is setting up concerns that people have with Donald Trump and then trying to refute them. She's not actually explaining why she would vote for Donald Trump. She's like kind of underguarding everything with saying like, oh, well, he's more concerned about the economy. But again, she's mostly focused on like concerns that liberals have with Donald Trump and saying that you're stupid.
Biggest thing in the last 4 years, maybe before this election, because this has been crazy, but that was huge. And obviously that's an important issue to care about, and it makes sense that people are concerned considering that the media has called Trump a racist for over 9 years at this point. But I want to tell you that minorities in America literally won this election for Donald Trump. From blacks to Hispanics to Asians, they came out in droves for him. Flipping minority-heavy counties that Republicans have not won literally since the 1800s. Why would they vote knowingly, happily, for a racist? Well, he doesn't talk down to them. He doesn't consider them victims who need white saving. He genuinely wants to empower them.
That's true. He's like, what you need is white persecuting. You need to be persecuted by white people. I'm not going to fucking save you. You're going to be persecuted.
That is what he's been saying for this entire campaign. That's what he's been saying for the last 9 years, which I really think made a difference in their eyes. I mean, in his first term, he helped flood their communities with economic prosperity. He overturned Biden's 1996 crime bill that disproportionately impacted black Americans. He funded HBCUs, including Howard University, where Kamala herself attended.
Okay, I love this talking point. HBCU funding by president. Okay, so what is this? The White House. Biden-Harris administration announces $1.3 billion in additional funding and a record of over $17 billion in total support for HBCUs. That's historically black colleges and universities. So what is this total? So this is over $17 billion total. How much funding did Donald Trump do? So this is Politico. Harris and Trump both claim broad HBCU support, but reality shows otherwise. So Trump, as president, vowed to make HBCUs a top priority. He authorized millions in funding, including for scholarships and research. He also returned a Black Colleges initiative from the Education Department to the White House on HBCU demand. President Joe Biden surpassed that funding with billions in additional investment. Okay, so Trump authorized millions in funding, and Joe Biden surpassed that with billions of additional investments. So Trump signed a bill that reauthorized $225 million in mandatory funding to minority-serving institutions, which included $85 million in recurring funds for HBCUs. That money supports efforts like university scholarships. But he faced criticism from some HBCU advocates for budget proposals that called for cutting programs on which the schools rely. So wait, he did $85 million in recurring funds, so that might be what, $85 million a year? And Biden proved significantly more support to HBCUs. They received more than $16 billion in funding. And if we take a look at Obama HBCU funding. So what is this? How much did Obama support? Over the course of 7 years, the Obama administration invested more than $4 billion in HBCUs. So, okay, Donald Trump did support HBCUs. Great, $85 million. Compare that to $4 billion from Obama and $17 billion from Joe Biden. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And they cite that as a reason why Trump is pro-black. He basically cut funding to HBCUs.
And yes, he might be brash sometimes. Maybe he's made some off-color comments, but he's not a racist. And to be honest, who hasn't? There are videos of Biden and Bill and Hillary saying things that are even worse. And people didn't care. Now, he also doesn't want to deport people because they're brown. He wants to deport them.
I mean, Donald Trump also has a history of being racist, from not paying black contractors to calling for the execution of the Central Park Five. Not to mention all of his anti-immigration rhetoric, calling Mexicans rapists and criminals. Some are good people. He wants to have the biggest He wants to have the biggest deportation in basically the history of the world. He called the Haitian migrants. He basically called them illegal citizens, and we got to deport them, when he literally created a pathway for legal citizenship for them with the temporary protected status, which caused them to go to Springfield in the first place. So again, you can't really make this stuff up.
because they're criminals, because they came into this country illegally. Many of them actually are criminals, bringing drugs and chaos, inciting gang violence throughout our country, killing innocent Americans like Lake and Riley. And Americans are fed up because they're looking around.
Okay, so just one thing about the border. Illegal immigrants commit less crime than legal citizens. Also, drugs being brought in across the border are mostly done by American citizens, and we can see that Biden's policies have actually dramatically decreased the amount of fentanyl that's entering America. So Biden policy, fentanyl. So this was a big story over the summer. Fact sheet: Biden-Harris administration announces new actions to counter the scourge of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs. So border officials have stopped illicit fentanyl at ports of entry in the past 2 fiscal years. They have stopped more than in the previous 5 fiscal years combined. In just over the last 5 months, over 442 million potentially lethal doses of fentanyl were seized at U.S. borders. So pretty strong border there. Another big impact is the widespread use of naloxone, a life-saving opioid overdose reversal medication widely available over the counter. And in 2021, Biden issued an executive order targeting foreign persons engaged in the global illicit drug trade and has since sanctioned over 300 persons and entities under his authority, thereby cutting them off from the United States' financial system. Due to these efforts, the number of overdose deaths in the United States has started to decline for the first time in 5 years, but even one death is too many. I mean, I'd like to see some numbers on this, because, yeah, the amount of overdose deaths has really significantly dropped. We can see... Don't want to see this. All right, let's just look at overdose deaths over year. So this is the National Institute for Health and Statistics. Let's see. So this was in 2023. The CDC reports that overdose deaths decreased in 2023, first time since 2018. Oh, who was president in 2018? Donald Trump. So yeah, I mean, we're starting to see overdose deaths declining, and a big part of that is the Biden administration's policies in targeting the drug trade of fentanyl, like the flow of fentanyl.
At their cities and their counties, and they're going, why are all these people here? Why are they getting money from the government? Why are they getting free housing? Why are they getting loaded Visa debit cards when our government doesn't seem to care about us at all? When we can't afford groceries, this doesn't seem fair. I mean, for the last 4 years, our government, Kamala, as the borders are, has basically been saying, I care more about these illegal immigrants than I do about actual American citizens. So no wonder they flip. And I hope that we can all agree.
Bro, literally deported more illegal immigrants than Donald Trump, both as a raw number and a percentage. So... yeah, like, what are you talking about?
That people coming in illegally is a bad thing. We don't hate immigrants. I mean, Trump has literally said time and time again that he loves immigrants, that this country was built on the back of legal immigrants. But that's the thing, they're legal. In addition to human rights, which again has been the biggest thing that I've seen all over social media, again, coming from people that I love, that I've been friends with, there are a lot of people who are enraged that we would vote for a woman-hating, racist felon. 34 felony counts. I keep seeing that be posted literally everywhere. Now, hopefully I dispel some of the ideas that he is a woman hater trying to take away your rights, or that he's some racist considering his very positive track record. But yes, let's talk about the 34 felonies that people are blasting online in these infographics. Now,
okay, I think I can skip this part. If she's just going to go through everything, like it is kind of dumb to say that, oh, he's a convicted felon, so I don't want to vote for him. But if you look at the reasons why he's a convicted felon, he basically has no consideration at all about laws. He thinks that laws don't apply to him. And that is a reason why you would want to get rid of him. If he's going to act like a dictator, that is evidence of him, like, potentially acting like a dictator when he gets in power.
Money trail, and obviously felony charges, they sound awful, they sound very, very scary, but they are literally just because of the way that he paid people and then notated those payments.
Oh my God. Yeah. He committed financial crimes due to his mishandling of his financial records during his
Crazy
campaign
when Stormy
funds.
took the stand a few years later and accused Trump not just of having an affair, but of raping her, which I am sorry is absurd because up until that point, she had said that this alleged encounter was all consensual.
Why did you Donald Trump? Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean,
Okay, I love this, attacking Stormy Daniels now for saying that she felt pressured into having sex with Donald Trump. Again, more misogyny from Brett Cooper saying that, oh, well, I mean, she was probably asking for it, right? She's a porn star. Why wouldn't she want to have sex?
We should care more about Biden's daughter writing in her journal that her father would shower with her. Maybe we should care more about Kamala and her Willie Brown affair. Maybe we should care more about her husband, Doug, getting the nanny pregnant in his first marriage and slapping his girlfriend. Those stories didn't sway you.
What the fuck is she talking about? Doug Emhoff, that guy slapped his girlfriend. Doug Emhoff dismisses domestic violence allegations as distraction. Doesn't deny report. Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so funny, dude. Oh, well, there's allegations that he slapped his girlfriend. Why aren't we talking about that?
His girlfriend. Those stories didn't sway you, obviously. The media barely covered them, so let's just move on from those types of stories if we are not going to be consistent in how we talk about them in regards to these candidates. Now, the justice system also went after Trump for taking classified documents from the White House. They literally raided his home Mar-a-Lago over this. It was a huge, huge scandal. People were going, oh my gosh, he's a criminal. This is awful. The FBI's raiding him. Well, guys, I hate to say it. It's not just him. So let's take it down a notch. It's not just Trump and Biden. Every administration since Reagan mishandled classified records. National Archives fined. So this was not the scandal.
I mean, she does realize that the reason the FBI raided his house is because he refused to comply with the, the National Library of Congress that requested him to return the records. Every other president that has mishandled classified information has complied and returned the records. Trump refused to, and that refusal developed into a criminal case against him. Pretty simple. Why would Donald Trump refuse to give the records back? Weird stuff happening there. There's also reports that he was showing off the different classified documents that he was having to just billionaires that were coming over to Mar-a-Lago.
That the justice system or the media made it out to be. And so what I'm trying to say here with all of this is that the media lies. We've caught them in their lies.
I mean,
and you
you're
might
lying.
not know
This
it, but
video has been
usually
nothing
like a
but
year
lying.
later, they go in and they quietly correct and retract these political headlines and celebrity endorsements. And so if you did make it this far, please just stay for 2 more minutes and watch this ad, because I think this sums up how your neighbors, how your friends, how your parents, your kids, or just millions of other Americans felt going into the election and why we feel so much hope, so much excitement, and so much peace right now.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered?
This election really isn't about the left versus the right.
I'm so obsessed with her.
It's about...
Bro, what? Who was this? RFK's failed vice presidential candidate?
we the people.
What is her shtick? She loves alternative medicine or something. Nicole Shanahan. Okay, so she's an attorney. So she's an attorney. She married the Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Early life career, political contributions and involvements before 2024. So she made various contributions to left-leaning organizations. She was a major donor to Measure J, a criminal justice reform in LA. Also in 2020, she contributed $150,000 to George Gascon. What is her? So she was incredibly disappointed and would not support his candidacy. But in early 2024, she reversed course and resumed backing Kennedy through Planeta Management LLC. She donated $4 million to his super PAC to pay for a 30-second television Super Bowl ad. God, that's embarrassing. So she was the creative force. I just want to see, what her... Does she have controversies, political views, career, bioecho, and advocacy? All right, let's see what this is. So she established her private foundation, Bioecho. It is named after Baia, the ancient Greek goddess associated with energy. Great. According to financial disclosure documents over a 3-year period, The sole donor was Shanahan's then husband, Sergey Brin. Before their divorce, Brin donated more than $20 million. So what is this bioecho? She pledged to contribute $100 million through bioecho over 5 years, mostly for reproductive longevity research, which claims to help women become pregnant later in life. She was repeatedly criticized in vitro fertilization. Wow, so many diverse perspectives from the RFK campaign. Oh, he's pro-rights, he's pro-IFV, or IVF. And literally his vice presidential running mate is criticizing IVF and championed unconventional research that she believes might allow women to have children into their 50s, suggesting, for example, that exposure to sunlight might aid fertility. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, she said that she wanted to find a cure to autism. And that's an additional focus of bioecho, and estimated that she spent 60% of her time researching autism. And then this is good. She donated to Blue Meridian Partners, which makes grants to nonprofits that aim to help the impoverished. That's kind of funny. She's like donating to a group that makes grants to nonprofits instead of just donating to the nonprofits themselves. So anyway, like, she's a quack, man. She's a kook. She thinks exposure to light will increase fertility, and she wants to find a cure to autism.
Choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why
Like a Kennedy endorsing a Republican, guys.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual.
How does she talk the same way RFK talks? How is she the same?
We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember
I love him.
and beyond that we must
Jebediah
love
Vanity.
our neighbors.
I can't believe they called him weird.
Treat other people as we hope.
Bro, he's such a fucking freak. He looks like this is the first time he's holding that child ever.
To be treated.
Don't you want healthy children?
That's the clip.
Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people
I really want Brett
who are
Cooper to
making
cry.
America great again.
Ugh, Melania. I love her. It's so great. It's so great. I wish that ad had come out earlier on
Wait,
in the
that's
campaign.
the
Like, it was
ad?
such a perfect way to bring it home and end it. And by the way, guys, that ad is much more impactful when you watch it on your own. We can't put the music that they put behind it, but it's American rock and roll. It's like
great.
literally just listening to it makes me want to cry. So if you want to get really emotional, listen to the one that he actually posted. It's so
Okay, well, that was extremely cringy. And oh my god, I am exhausted. Covering this stupid, like, Brett Cooper bullshit is insane, man. But 1.5 million views, 800,000 views. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to cover more of this, but this was painful to get through. I hope it wasn't as painful to watch for you guys, but holy shit. And this is my issue with covering right-wingers. What they're saying is just non-factual whatsoever. So it's actually kind of fun and engaging to cover people like Ethan Klein, even people like Shoeonhead, who do have some good points every now and then. But right-wingers just lie nonstop, and so cutting through the lies is exhausting. I also don't think that it's really effective in changing people's minds on the issue, because like, this stuff that Brett Cooper's saying isn't convincing people. It's just reaffirming the premises that they have coming into these videos. So anyway, I'll be, I don't know, maybe I'll be talking more about it, but that was like soul sucking, man. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what else you want me to cover, because my plan was to dive into this, like, Ben Shapiro stuff, the Matt Walsh stuff, but it is so draining, and it's like every other second you need to stop and pull up a document to disprove it, because they're just straight up lying. But hope you enjoyed the video, and everyone have a great rest of your day.